Hello everyone, I have a scrapbook process to share with you today with the Thompson's Craft Supplies design team. This is my first project with October's pretty spooky kit. As ever, I will link the unboxing if you haven't seen it. I am so in love with this kit, and that's not just because I had a little hand in designing it. It's just so beautiful and so my thing. But yes, at the beginning there, as you may have noticed, I was kind of torn between two papers. One was the B-side of one of the Heidi Swapp Hawthorne papers, the black and white stripe. I decided against that. I thought it kind of went with my pictures, but then it was going to make the whole thing too black and white, which is not what I wanted. And then this paper, which is the Reminisce Full Moon paper, I know the A side with the full moon is just gorgeous. I know some of you were yelling at me like, why have you just left that side? Why didn't you use that side? I know, but this side, the B side, there is just something about it, like that really dark, spooky, ethereal kind of, I just love it, so I wanted to use it. So I was using the Damask stamp from the kit just to stamp a background. They're using some Stays On ink in Stone Grey, and I didn't use a stamp block or anything, it is a stamp that's supposed to look distressed kind of thing, but just to make it even more patchy and stuff, and not to have the background too strong, I was just sort of hand stamping it in various places, like so, and doing second and third hand, or third generation, is that the right word? Yes, generation stamping. Then going in with the glitter paste from the kit and this skull stencil, which is a Dilution stencil. This was not in the kit, this was a little extra purchase I made myself recently, but this is a very skull themed layout, as you will see over the course of this video, so I wanted to add the little skulls. I decided after I'd done those two areas, it needed another area of skulls as well, so I did that. And then just setting that aside to dry, I am getting this skull. This is the 3D printed skull by Cal Summers of the Scrap Lab. This is a kit exclusive. I do not believe you can get it anywhere else. And originally I was going to use the glitter paste from the kit for this skull, but then I decided if it was black, it was going to draw too much attention to itself on the layout. Like, I want it to get some attention, but the photos always have to be the most important thing. So instead, I'm using this Moonstone Glimmer Paste from Nuvo, which is just a white, and yes, just covering the skull in that. And I'm letting that dry naturally, because using the heat tool on that, on the plastic, is probably not the best idea. It might start to melt the plastic a little bit. I don't know, but anyway, let it dry like that. So I did want to include that striped paper somehow, because as I said, it does kind of go with the photos. So I've just cut off a long strip of it, and then really distressing the edges, and then I'm going in with Distress Oxide in old paper, and what's the black one called? My mind's just totally gone blank on that. The black Distress Oxide. I went with the, there was me getting fascinated there, look, because I put my distress tool down, but I didn't realise I'd put it upside down. It was just like magically standing by itself. Oh, spooky. Anyways, yeah, I went with the old paper because there is obviously that green effect going on the main paper itself, so just adding a little bit of that on this little piece I'm using here. And then what is it? Oh, it's gone out of screen again. Is it black soot? That's really annoying me, that. Anyway, using that too. And then I decided I couldn't see enough of that damask stamping, so I just very lightly with the pencil kind of drew where my strip was going to go, and then just did a little bit extra stamping, as you see. Same effect, not using the stamp block or whatever, just sort of smushing it down on there, getting a really light effect. And then again, before putting down this sort of strip thing that I've made, I'm going to use some of the Tim Holtz rub-ons. You know, I forget if they're from this year's or last year's Tim Holtz Halloween. I've got a feeling it's this year's, but honestly, don't know. But I am just fussy cutting out the little bits and pieces I want to use, mostly the skulls, and then just, as you can see, just rubbing those on there. One of the skulls didn't like to keep its eyes and its mouth, so one of the skulls is like a skull shape with a blank face, but yeah, that's fine. I'm going to use like the little phrases and stuff, just a couple of them, just having them sticking out, just spooky sayings and whatnot. So the pictures, which are not on screen at the moment, which is annoying, I realise, but I feel like this is my chance to talk about them. They are of me. Unsurprisingly, I don't remember what Halloween, but face paint. I love doing face paint, and I'm not half bad at it, and I did a sort of spooky skull pumpkin king kind of thing, and yeah, there's one of the pictures there. That's what it looked like. So even though it's not technically a skull, it's skull-esque. I feel like I can't really do skull makeup or skeleton makeup because, you know, I'm not a slim girl, and sometimes it might look a bit silly if I try and look like a skeleton, you know what I mean? Anyway, Adding some, this bat stencil came from the kit, and I just, using Distress Oxide in Hickory Smoke, added a few bats just to that strip there, just to have a little bit of them just sort of sneaking out behind the photos and that. And then I decided just to add a couple of strips of this paper. This is another Tim Holtz Halloween. This is a beautiful 8x8 flocked paper. I love it so much. I just thought, again, I wanted to stay away from the black and white thing, so adding this sort of really distressed brownie thing with the flocked paper and stuff really helped towards the more vintagey, spooky kind of thing I was going for. And I added lots and lots of the black soot, that's what it's called, Distress Oxide around the edges of those, just to, again, more distressed, more spooky, blah, blah, blah. Here is my add-on that I bought myself for this kit, the Die Cuts with a View Spooky and Sparkly paper pad, which I am completely and totally in love with. And I've cut that skull pattern out to back my photos, and I'm also going to cut out some of these really spooky, flowery damask skulls from the paper pad, both the silver foiled and just the black on white ones, and fussy cut out a couple of these guys because I thought they would make great little embellishments on my very, very skull themed layout. More skulls to come. Yep, lots of skulls. I really like skulls. Did I mention that before? I genuinely, when Halloween comes around every year, that's when I get home decor stuff. Right now I'm looking at 3 candle holders that I bought about 8 years ago, which are skulls, and I just use them as all year round decoration. I've got 3 different skulls in my craft rooms. I really like skulls, and I don't know why. I know it's a bit weird. My mum finds it really, really strange, but yes. With my photos, I thought just having that white behind them might just not quite work. And there was a lot of sparkly things going on this layout, especially with that skull that I put the glitter paste on, that I would just have something sparkly behind the photos. Now, I do have some silver glitter cards somewhere, but I could not locate it. So instead, I'm just taking some black cardstock and doing some embossing around the edges. I embossed with a silver embossing powder and then with a clear glitter over the top because I don't have a silver glitter embossing powder. So yes, must put that on the list of things that I require. So yeah, once that was done, I've put my photos on those and then on that black and white paper, as I said I was going to do before. And I've left quite not a massive edge to them, but like you can just about see little hints of skulls on them. And I did actually, it was completely accidentally that I cut them wonky, but it kind of worked for the layout. I decided to add some more oxide just around the edges here, the black. Again, just, I don't know, I loved the distressed effect that was already there, but I just thought it could have done with a little bit more, so that's what I'm doing there. Now putting my photos down just with some double-sided tape, and then I'm going to start sort of figuring out where everything is going to go. And yes, I've already done that, apparently. Skipped out that bit, but you can see I've got my skull. I'm going to put some flowers on my skull to make it a pretty skull. Putting some Hickory Smoke oxide around those white skulls just to make them, again, more distressed and stuff. I'm kind of doing a heavy layer around the edges and then just sort of lightly dabbing it on the front of the skulls. And yes, just putting those down with tacky glue. I have also got that Tim Holtz chip piece there that says something dreadfully wicked. I kind of like that a lot. And then there is the little metal piece that says trick or treat, and then the skull flare again from the Scrap Lab. And I'm using 2 of my absolute favorite things from the kit in this layout, and I often wait and use those towards the end of doing my projects and stuff, because I am one of those people who often like saves things, but I was like, I need to get out of this habit and just use the things that I love so much. Obviously I love it all, but I love these the absolute most. Just kind of use them straight away while I've got the idea in my head to use them. So on they go. So for my title, obviously you can see skeletons there. That's written with the Vicky Boutin thickers from her previous collection, not Field Notes, the one before that. And then for the rest of my title, I really wanted to use this font. These, I think, are Amy Tangerine, and they're called Memento. I don't know what collection they're from, but as you can see, they are green. And they're not the right kind of green for this layout. So I'm just putting them on some vellum and using some black acrylic paint to paint them black. Now, I should have put gesso on them first to make the acrylic paint stick to the plasticky letters better. But because I didn't do that, the acrylic paint kind of fades in certain places, and that green kind of comes through, and that actually kind of works for this layout because of the hint of green. So yes, it works. So setting those aside to dry, getting my skeletons down, and then my other 2 words are spooky, scary skeletons. Some of you may know exactly what that is. Basically, I'm doing 2 layouts this month based on my 2 favourite Halloween songs. And this first one is based on one of my favourites, Spooky Scary Skeletons by, I think it was originally a Disney thing, like years and years ago, but there's the Living Tombstone remix on YouTube. It's got bajillions of views and you may have heard it, but I just love it so much. I always listen to it every Halloween, and sometimes even not around Halloween, but I've already been listening to it. It is October and I just love it. So even though obviously there is only one skeleton, so to speak, because it's both pictures of me, it's still named after that song. I'm not going to sing it. I kind of really want to because I just love it so much, but I won't do that. Partially because you all probably hate me, but also copyright things scare me. So yes, I love that song. If you can guess the other favourite Halloween song that will be in one of my other layouts, then you may have many, many, many life points. I don't have any prizes or anything, but see if you can guess. So those are all, once those are dry, obviously, going down with tacky glue, and just look there, the leftovers. How cool does that look on the vellum? I'm definitely going to use that in another project because that just looked so cool. Totally unintentional, but yeah, love it. So things like the skull and the flowers and the flare have all been put down with 3D gloss gel. And I'm going to finish off, surprise, surprise, with some sequins from this Beagle Mum Scraps mix from the kit. I'm kind of picking out just the really dark sequins, like not the light purples, just like the dark teal and the blacks and that kind of colour. Oh, I forgot to say, those little extra skull stickers I put down, there's 3 of them. Those I have had for yonks and yonks and yonks. They were from Paper Chase so long ago. I don't even remember what year, but I just love them so much that I've been hoarding them. So I was like, this is the time to use them. And I do have 2 packs of them. So even if I've used up this whole pack, I still have another pack to use. So anyway, that's where those came from. And even though they're kind of a bronzy colour and there's more of a silver vibe on this layout, I think that's okay because there's the vintage effect like on that flocked strip I used and stuff, so yeah, I think it's okay. So I'm just adding some splatters here in white. This is Distress Stain in a Picket Fence. I thought I was going to go black splatters and then I thought they'd blend in too much, so instead I'm going with the white splatters so they can kind of pick up little areas of the layout and point it out and whatnot. And with that, I believe I am finished. So thank you so much for watching. I had an absolute blast doing this layout. Loving this kit so much. Love Halloween. Love spooky things. I am in my element right now, guys. Seriously. Anyways, all the links that I can find will be in the description box below as per usual. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me in the comments, and I think that's about it. So yeah, I'm going. Thanks again. Bye bye.